Okay, so you see the tone holes are not all exactly the same size. The smaller the tone hole, the flatter the note. The larger the tone hole, the sharper the note. So what I'm doing to bend the note is, instead of just like lifting a finger off, I'm venting it just slightly and sliding my finger in. And what that does is, instead of going from a closed tone hole to just open, you're effectively doing this, so that like it's a very small tone hole at first, so it's a very flat version of the note, and then it's sharpening until it actually comes into tune, into pitch, when your finger is all the way off. So you could do the same thing going the other way, right? You could do this, but the reason why you don't do that is then you end up with the finger out here. You got to make a big movement to get back in place, to get it back in play. If you slide in, kind of like that, then you end up back in position to cover the note. Again, penny whistle players really like having a simplified fingering system and like sound system and very simple mechanics, because it lets you do a lot more ornamentation. So if you listen to like people who play penny whistle, not like a saxophone player that learned how to play a little bit of whistle so that they can like play Call Me Al or something like that at a wedding or that sort of shit. If you listen to people who like play the instrument, you'll hear that they do very, very like really complex ornamentation, and you can do it because the thing has got like barely any mechanics to it. So the distance between like an expressive thought and like the instrument is like very short compared to most other instruments. And thank you very much for the compliment. I'm glad you like the duet. You know, this is something about like the culture of TikTok and the way people use TikTok and like the mechanics of TikTok that I really like, is that it makes musical experimentation like really easy to do. Like, you would never sit down and think to yourself, I wonder what it would sound like to have a banjo and a penny whistle playing You Are My Sunshine in a minor key. Like, there's no reason to ever think that. And if you did have that thought, how would you ever like put together a moment where you could hear what it actually sounds like? But I think TikTok is just a place where like it's easy to do those sort of experiments. The experiments come to you. You don't have to think of them. And people are always like game to hear it. So yeah.